What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday. How's everybody doing? Look, I just had something on my mind that's been stirring around in my spirit for a while, and I just wanted to let it go. You know, here you go. You know, the chosen ones, God's chosen few, the 144,000. Those are the ones that's going to change everything. And what I'm seeing here now is something that happened to those ones that were chosen. There was a period where they were activated. It's called activation. Certain things had to happen, certain situations that they had to run across certain people, whatever the case may be, to activate them. And a few of them I can talk about. One of them would be David. David wasn't just a shepherd boy. He went out. He was keeping the sheep for his family. His father sent him over to give his brother's lunch, take his brother's lunch. And while he was taking his brother's lunch, all of them was standing out there while Goliath was taunting them. They were afraid. But guess what? David wasn't afraid. When he heard Goliath talking about his God, that activated him. When that activated him, he took him and he slayed the giant. And that's when he came into his rightful place. And he did whatever he needed to do to take care of God's business, and he did that very well. And there's another one we can talk about. Saul, which became Paul. Paul was out there slaying people, Christians, thinking he was doing God's work, but he was ultimately doing the devil's work, Satan's work. But that one day, he was on the Damascus Road, headed to do the same thing. And he had an encounter with God. God knocked him off his beast. He asked him a question, Saul, why are you doing this to my people? And he knew who he was. But once he was talking to Jesus, and Jesus had blinded him temporarily for 3 days. After that 3 days passed, and he got his sight back, activation was on. He started doing all the things he did. He was one of the most profound writers of the book today. He wrote more chapters than anybody. So that was an activation period for him. And that's an activation period for you. That's an activation period for me and everybody else that is chosen by God. Everybody has a purpose, but not everybody's chosen. But God knows who you are. He knows what you're about. Sometimes you don't even know who you are. You don't know what you're capable of until you come to a certain situation that's going to change your life. It's going to set you apart from everybody else. It's going to put you into that place where you're going to do everything that you were made to do before the foundation of this earth. He put it in you, and he knows how to bring it out you. And he knows when to bring it out you. You just have to be ready. That's all it has to be. Let's go for another one. Look at Moses. Moses, he was called by God and chosen by God, and he slayed one of the Egyptians. Then he had to run off into the desert for 40 years. That was the hard thing for anybody. You had to run. You thought you were doing what God told you to do, but you did it at the wrong time. So he did it at the wrong time, so he had to run around in the desert for 40 years. And when he came back, when God sent him back to Egypt, and he had to say, well, let my people go. That was his activation period. He was activated. And he did what God told him to do. And he got his people out of there. He rescued the people, took them outside the promised land, but the people was not all the way there. They was so stuck on the ways that they were, they didn't get out of their ways. You got to get out your way. You can't let things from your past define you. You can't let limitations define you. You have to be all that God created you to be, and you have to know who you are. And that takes time. It takes studying, finding out who you really are, but that activation, when that certain thing that happens to you, it's going to come, and it's going to activate you. And we go for another one. And I'm going to say this is the best for all, the activation of Jesus. Jesus was born as a human. He came down in human form, and he walked around the earth for 30 years before he was activated. But the day he was activated, the activation of him was when John the Baptist baptized him in the Jordan River. When he went down and came back up, the Father said, "This is my Son, in whom I'm well pleased. Hear him." That was his activation. He was already fully man and fully God, but that's what activated him. And then he went on for the next few years and did all the things that you hear about today. But it was activated. It's an activation period. That was for him. That's for everybody. All of the chosen, all of the ones that God knows who he wants to do his work for him. Now, like I say, everybody is called, but few are chosen. And I'm talking about the chosen ones. Those are the ones that have the assignment that God gave them to do everything that he wanted them to do. And each one of us has that assignment. Each one of us have to discover that, what is within us. You don't know what's in you until you're activated. And whatever your activation thing is, you might have got into an accident and something happened that changed your life for the better. It might be someone that activated you. They did some things to you, that made you mad. Whatever the case may be, but it activated you. It changed you. It sent you onto the right path. And that's what it is. That's what we have to do. That's what we have to find out, we have to find out, hey, this is my activation period. You'll know it because it's going to change you. It's going to send you into a way of doing things that you never done before, you never thought you could do before. You're finding out who you are, the inner you, who you were made to be, who you were discovered. You discovered who you were and what you were called to do, and your mission on this earth as you go out for the rest of your life doing this, because once you're activated, that's it. There's no turning back. You have to do what needs to be done. And it's not a chore. It's not going to be hard because you're already equipped for it. You've been equipped. Your whole life you've been doing things that you don't even know that will set you up for that moment. There's things that we do, and when that activation period comes, it's going to be so easy because, hey, you already been doing it. You already been living through some stuff. You might have been put through an isolation period to find out who you are. You might have been people been talking about you, putting you down, dragging your name through the mud, but all that was a part of the activation period because it made you stronger than you ever thought you would be. It made you wiser than you ever thought you were. So, your activation period, what is it? Have you found it? Have you been activated? I'm just trying to see what have you discovered it. If not, and you're one of the called, the chosen, it's coming. So be ready for it. And understand that it's not to hurt you. It's not to put you down. It's to make you better than you ever was before, to make you do the things that God wanted you to do. And by me saying that, I hope you have a very, very great rest of your day, your Sunday. Just enjoy it. Sit down, relax. Family, whoever you're with. And, just thoughts that I had, the revelation that I had. And I'm out.